This one for the Iowa folks.
Yeah.
Here we go. First Iowa team in. By the way, there's 3 of them.
So 8-9, we've got the Hawks. 19-13 overall, 11-9 in the Big Ten. They ended up being an 8 seed overall in the tournament. Had a chance to be significantly higher had they won their last game and or won a couple of games in the Big Ten tournament. They did not, which has been their kryptonite overall, is shooting on the road. They're playing Auburn, however, who is categorically worse on the road than Iowa. However, Auburn somehow, as a 9 seed against an 8 seed, gets to play 2.5 hours from home.
The whole Midwest bracket from a location standpoint
Doesn't make any damn sense.
no damn sense.
So this is the Midwest. First of all, we'll talk about it when we get to the West, but
Right.
Kansas should have been the Midwest seed here over Houston, and they weren't. But
However, they're playing in
Iowa-
Des Moines in the West bracket.
correct.
Make that make sense.
Yes. So again, I don't know how all of that works. I'm not going to pretend to. However, Iowa, Auburn 20-12, 10-8 in the SEC. 2 completely different styles. Iowa 80 points a game, Auburn 72. Iowa gives up 74 points a game. Auburn only 67. Earlier this year, just to give you a little bit of reference, Northwestern beat Auburn 42-40, like very early in the season. 82 total points. So that tells you how, like, what
That's
Auburn,
style.
like that's the Auburn. I mean, we can see right here, Tennessee, Auburn, which 2 very defensive teams, 46-43. This is not the pace Iowa wants to play at.
No. And when they do, it doesn't bode well.
If Iowa can play in the high 70s to 80s, Iowa's going to win this game.
Oh, Lord. I didn't know that, by the way.
I mean, right. So the thing is Iowa is 2 very, very different teams on the road versus at home. But so is Auburn. But when we look at shooting statistics, overall, Iowa is a 34% three-point shooting team. Auburn is a 31% three-point shooting team. That's 175th and 321st in the country. The other item that comes into play here is that Iowa's like 40+% at home and like 25 to 27% on the road. So like we're talking drastically different. This is a neutral site.
It is.
It is. And
But-
here's the thing is that Iowa fans, so
Travel.
Barstool, Iowa has reached out to Barstool, Alabama. Alabama absolutely hates Auburn. We know how big a rivalry this is in football. To show up, because I mean, there's probably not a lot of people traveling to watch Alabama play whoever wins tonight and whoever wins the Maryland-West Virginia game.
No,
I mean, there's going to be
when
some,
they come
but like,
home.
there's a much better chance that an Alabama fan base can show up and root against Auburn. So Iowa is pulling from those fans. And Iowa will travel decent. Not great, but
No.
decent. So there's a chance that you have a relatively neutral to, maybe only 60-40 versus like 80-20 that
Right.
it would be if anybody really cared. If these weren't football schools instead of basketball schools. You know what I mean? So I am taking Iowa simply because it's the somewhat lesser of 2 evils here. I hope it's Iowa because I think the game will be more entertaining if Iowa wins. So
I don't feel that way.
Okay.
So this will be an interesting one for us to come back to.
yeah,
The form that Iowa's in is not good, and I want to point this out.
Mm-hmm.
Overall,
do you see what Auburn's last 10 games are?
Yeah. What?
Do you see how many road games Auburn's won this year?
No, I get that, but I don't think the road thing. I don't think that matters.
Like eventually they're going to win one.
Well, that
Are they
goes
due?
with statistics, but also I just don't think away matters in the NCAA tournament. I think that gets wiped out personally.
Okay.
But the form you're in from taking Alabama to OT Tennessee, and I don't remember what they did in the tournament, nor does this show us, which is stupid.
It's a rivalry game.
But all these teams are in, and they've played well. I can't say that here.
No, but
I
if
can't
you
say
look
that
at the teams Iowa's lost to this year,
I'm not talking about this year. I'm just talking about the last 5. That's
no,
all
I'm just talking about in general. And I'm going to agree with you on this, is that Iowa has lost the teams that they should beat.
Correct.
And beat the teams. So, like, if you look at the top half of the Big Ten, Iowa was like, let's call it 75% winning percentage. And they were like 20% winning percentage against teams like 9 to 14 in the Big Ten. They've lost to bad teams and beat the good teams. Auburn's not a good team. So that's where my lean is Auburn, until I see how bad Auburn is when they're not playing at home.
This could be a really
Bad game. Yeah.
Who wins a bad game?
I mean, that's the only reason I leaned Iowa, because I don't think either team, unless Iowa somehow gets hot at a neutral site, I don't think either team can give Houston even remotely a game.
This team, whoever comes out's losing.
The thing is if Sasser doesn't play,
there's a chance.
Iowa has a better chance at beating Houston than Auburn does.
Correct.
Because of style of play.
But do they get out of it?
And that's what all Iowa fans are talking about. That's what all the pundits are talking about is
So true.
I think either way that we're going to have to agree, whether we agree to disagree a little bit, that Houston's moving on. So that game doesn't really matter overall. And it's an in-state, so we're probably taking Iowa.
We'll lean to Iowa just because of being in-state, but I want you to know in every bracket I've taken Auburn.
We'll be fangirls.
Just like the next game.
Yeah.
In every bracket.
Well then, it's time.